Because of that stonewalling that you're talking about, it's going to cost all of us a lot of money.
That's absolutely true.
Tonight, a veteran Seattle police officer is suing his own department over the helmet he was issued before being badly injured on May Day. His lawyers say we could all pay for SPD's refusal to turn over crucial internal emails. The Seattle police officer is still working for the department, so he's not allowed to talk about today's new lawsuit against the city.
But hours ago, Officer Carrie Zeiger's wife talked only to KIRO 7 about this case, and she is angry. New at 5:30, KIRO 7's Gary Horker is live in Belltown, where the officer was hit in the face when a demonstrator threw concrete at him. And Gary, you were just a few feet away from that when it happened.
I was, and I will never forget two things. One, the noise that it made is haunting. And two, that Officer Zeiger never flinched even after the rock disfigured his face, even after officers were cornered across the street there along 2nd Avenue by Mayday rioters throwing rocks. Now, Zeiger's wife just told me SPD knew they didn't have the right wraparound helmets to protect their officers, and yet those officers hit the streets on Mayday anyway.
That as a spouse, you understand the risk. You're prepared for something to happen.
And no one knows more about that risk than Renee Mara Zeiger. On May Day of last year, she was called to Harborview Medical Center after her husband, veteran SPD officer Carrie Zeiger, was badly injured when a large chunk of concrete thrown by a May Day protester hit him in the eye. Now, the last time Renee had been called to Harborview was back in 2003 when her then husband, Federal Way Officer Patrick Marr, was shot and killed in the line of duty. Renee says what happened to her current husband, Officer Zeiger, could have been prevented if the department had given him a more protective helmet, which she says he asked for that day.
You kind of appreciate the reality that your loved one may not come home. It's harder to take when the reason they're injured is that the department didn't give them the right equipment. That's a feeling of betrayal.
I think that they're hiding behind some information that doesn't make them look good. That's what I think.
Erica Shelley Nelson is Officer Zeiger's lawyer, who launched 2 lawsuits against the city of Seattle today, claiming not only did SPD fail to provide the protective helmet Zeiger asked for, but Nelson says the city also refuses to hand over documents, emails, and other records.
You believe the records will show what?
I believe that the records will show that the city knew that they did not have enough higher protection helmets available that day.
And she also believes SPD has policies about officer safety which were not followed on that May Day. She says the fine the city might have to pay for failing to come up with the requested records is $100 every day going back 11 months.
It was a complete and total stonewalling from our perspective. And so that's the frustrating part, is that we feel very ignored during this process.
We reached out to both SPD and the city attorney's office today, and we did not hear back. Officer Zeiger's attorney tells us tonight the lawsuits are intended to ensure public future safety for all officers, and she says Officer Zeiger is getting a lot of positive response from his fellow cops in the street. We're live in Belltown tonight. I'm Gary Horker, KIRO 7 News.